What's going on YouTube? My name is Dylan with TheByesRegret. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm bringing you the epilogue to the Strike Ninja deck, the GOAT rated ranked match. I'm bringing you the deck profile of that deck, the Strike Ninja Monarch deck that has been anticipated since I released that video on Wednesday. I'm currently in the process of getting a new desk and reorganizing my entire office, so I'm kind of taking today to bulk record a bunch of content for you all for the next week or so that I can get everything back into the swing of things and back into the place that it needs to go. But anyways, going on to this deck is probably one of my favorite strategies in GOAT format. Strike Ninja just has such a powerful effect paired with DD Scout Plane. These cards alone form a resource loop where you just constantly have tribute fodder for, Monarchs or for, trap cards that require a tribute, and it's just, it's crazy. All right, so starting out, obviously, we're playing the Strike Ninja package. We're playing 2 copies of Strike Ninja and a copy of Scout Plane. Usually when I play this deck, the very early version of this deck with me, I was maxing out on both of these. I was playing 3 Strike Ninja and 3 Scout Plane. That grew to be very bricky, so I cut Scout Plane down to 1, and then, or down to 2, and then I cut the Ninja down to 2 because it's searchable, and then I cut the Scout all the way down to 1. If I played any less than this, then this just wouldn't be the Strike Ninja deck. But other darks that we're playing that can also search out Scout Plane, I'm playing 3 copies of Mystic Tomato. This card's fucking crazy. I like to say that this card is the best value-wise recruiter, the best recruiter in GOAT format value-wise. This card just can tutor so much in the format that's just considered broken. And the main targets we're playing for it, we're playing Sangan, New Doria, and also Donzalug. Donzalug's really funny to summon off a tomato because you can crash if your opponent has a tomato or your opponent has something with 1400 attack. You can crash the tomato into it and summon Donnie and rip a card out of their hand. Yeah, Sangan can search Scout Plane. Sangan searches pretty much everything right here outside of, outside of Strike Ninja. And then Sangan can also search the next little engine that we're playing, which is 3 copies of Spy. We're playing Tribute Monsters, so this card ends up just being fucking broken. This card being a 2000 wall, and the fact that we're not in 2010, so we can't get Descendant yet to blow shit up. Yeah, I really like Spy. This card's fucking crazy. Going into our Tribute Monsters, we're playing 2 copies of Mobius. This deck's heart and soul is based around its Tribute Monsters, and I believe Mobius may just be the best one in all because it destroys 2 spell traps. 1 Zaborg. The list that I was playing, the original list I was playing like 8 Monarchs, because it was just like the entire Strike Ninja package plus 8 Monarchs, and then like 2 return from different dimension. But this card is not the greatest because it has to target something when it hits the field. So if you tribute this into a blank field, you blow up the Zaborg, and then it's just you get nothing value wise. You know what I mean? You want to be using Zaborg to blow things up when it enters the field to go 1-up on your opponent in card advantage, which is why instead of playing the second Zaborg, I'm playing Blowback Dragon. This card's probably one of my favorite cards in GOAT format. It's only 100 smaller in attack than Zaborg. It is bigger in defense, weirdly enough, so sometimes that comes up. But each turn, you basically just get to flip coins, and if you hit 2 heads, you destroy a thing. Any target, which is really cool. Zaborg only targets monsters. This card targets anything. And the last Tribute Monster is, we're playing GOAT. We got to be playing Jinzo. This card's insane. Weirdly, it technically has like negative synergy with our deck. Since our big push for game is usually return from a different dimension, but Jinzo in this deck, I just feel is needed. I can't really think of another Tribute Monster I would want to be playing outside of this. And then for the other little value cards we're playing Exiled, and we're playing Breaker. These cards are just pretty good normal summons. It doesn't really matter. you know, what kind of board state you summon these into. These are like pretty much always going to blow up a spell trap, or they're just going to blow up a monster. And then I'm also playing Morphing Jar because this card can set up Strike Ninja in its own. So if you have like a Strike Ninja on field and you have this in hand plus like 2 other darks and a D Scout Plane, you can just set this, and then when your opponent attacks you pitch the Scout Plane and the other 2 darks, draw 5, and then you have a Strike Ninja activation, which brings back the Scout Plane. And if you're drawing 5 more cards, you're more than likely finding a Tribute Monster. So you can just kind of push your way. This card alone can just kind of push for game, which is really weird to think about considering it's only 700 attack. So that's it for the monsters. It's an even 20 on the monsters. Honestly, some changes that I would make in that list online. I'm also just not showing the side deck for this deck. I was originally going to do this deck profile online, but I kind of broke my OBS. But yeah, 20 monsters in main. If I were to change anything about the deck from that video, I'd probably main Thessalos, because I was siding 3 Thessalos, and that card just came in so clutch in that match. Going into spells, we'll start with 2 ofs. We're playing 2 copies of Rhoda. Ooh, man, throwing cards everywhere. And 2 copies of Knock. Set monsters can be a pain in the ass, especially, especially Pac-Man monsters, you know, set Night Assailant, set Dekoichis. Like you saw in the match, Nobleman in the main pretty much won me game 2, you know, because I ended up drawing double Nobleman, 2 Noblemen in 2 turns when he had set monsters on the field. I think the first one was a Night Assailant, and the second one was Dekoichi. So, you know, that instantly took 4 cards out of his deck. I mean, not only did it take the Night Assailant off the field, so it couldn't blow something up when I attack into it, it removed the Night Assailant from the deck, so he couldn't establish like a resource loop with it by pitching it for a pitch trap to add back the other Night Assailant. And then Rhoda, of course, you're playing 4 targets. 4 targets? Yeah, 4 targets. Honestly, the usual rule of thumb with Goat is that if you're playing anything less than 5 targets, then you only play 1 Rhoda. But I definitely think this deck needs it because it's the main thing that Strike Ninja banks off of. Because the only way in this deck to search it is the Rhoda itself. And then going into one of those spells, you know, we have the thing that pretty much everybody knows is Format 4, is the Crazy Trinity. Yeah, I really don't have to say anything about these. And then we have the one of those spells that lead into Tribute Summons if need be. So we have Premature, we have Snatch, we have Creature Swap, which is really cool, which is a really fun tech because, you know, we're playing Tomato, you're playing Spy, you're playing Sangan, so you can like Creature Swap this over to them. And then we're also playing Brain Control, because yet again, it fuels a Tribute Summon. And then we're playing one of each of MST and Heavy Storm. Back row is just kind of like the bane of this deck's existence. You know, running into a Mirror Force kind of just resets the whole game plan unless you can activate, because you can't activate Strike Ninja like in response to something like that. And then for the traps, we're playing 2 copies of Sakuratsu. The mainstay, like, power traps, you know, Mirror Force Call, Burn Instruction Torrential. And then the last trap that we're playing is Return from a Different Dimension. I just want to talk about this card for a minute because it is quite literally our primary win con. Obviously, this deck doesn't run the fastest, but just look at all of the darks that you could potentially summon back off this card. You know what I mean? Like there are 16 dark monsters in this deck, 2 of them being the Strike Ninjas that set it up. But like, this card's just crazy. Like, if you resolve Return from a Different Dimension like out of nowhere, like if you're just like moving into your turn and you just say, okay, standby phase, or what's it called, main phase of 1, you know, no back row on the opponent's side, no monsters on their side, a flip return. Okay, cool. There were games where in the early versions of this deck, I was activating, where like I activated Return against Panda Burn strictly just to summon Jinzo back to stop him from, you know, Nightmare Wheeling one of my monsters. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to do. That's pretty much all I have to say about this deck. This deck runs pretty smoothly. It's fairly consistent. But yeah, I want to thank you all so much for sticking with me and joining me again on my return into YouTube. Things aren't like completely ideal right now because, you know, I'm recording off of an old laptop. I'm kind of, you know, I'm still working a full-time job, but I think this push is good. I have a PC that's coming in here in, I want to say, like a week, that I'll then set up and turn into like my little editing space. So yeah, I'm really excited to be taking this journey back into YouTube with you all, and thank you so much for watching.